Hey, this is Jen Latta. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside ESPN's John Anderson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the John Anderson Homer Hour. The Professor, 7-2.5. We are now, if you haven't been informed, and I don't believe the NFL has announced it, you are now enjoying or living through the Brian Bulaga bye week in the NFL. We named it after him only because he was doing the show that night. This is the second bye week in the NFL. There's no other possible explanation for it. But yeah, you have a bye week. So what in a bye week in the regular season, you have nothing. Nothing. This is actually the worst bye week because even in a bye week, you have some games. Even John Anderson, unless he chooses to put a little salt in, there is no way he can explain the logic of this. As nothing happens for a week, as then you have the week before game one. Joining us now is the Professor. Go ahead. Give it your best shot. One, do you approve of honoring Brian Bulaga so that everybody understands this is basically a bye week, just like the bye week you have in the regular season, but everybody has it. I would have honored you, but it was debuted yesterday.
Well, listen, I'm not getting in any fights with Bulaga. Anything you want to do with him is great. He deserves every accolade that comes his way, every naming. I don't know that it's a bye week. I feel like you got to actually put some work in. Like any of these guys, none of these guys that made the 53 are taxed or overtaxed from playing, so I don't really need that they need the bye week. I think this is just the NFL's way of just like, listen, we can stretch this thing out as long as we can. It's the same reason that they, altered the draft and everything else. This gives us now, 8 days, 9 days before the first game to chat about it.
And it explains why they need this. They don't even have a preseason. They play JV games. Yeah. The starters rest the entire spring training. So why do you need this week? Why not play the last game up until, let's say, Friday, and then you announce the cuts Saturday, and then you come and start and have your first week. And the two teams that play Thursday, maybe they play Thursday. But
This gives us time to talk about the cuts for 3 days. No, we get to talk about the cuts for 3 days.
We could do that next week. What do we do next week, sir?
That's from your point of view. I'm talking about the NFL. This gives us time to talk about it. It gives us time to trade a 6th-round pick to get one more tackle that we need and all that other stuff. They're just building in space, man, because they know we'll fill it. That's why. When we stop filling it, they'll go, okay, I guess we should play because nobody's talking about us. We're filling the air for them. They're like, then let's give them the air until next Thursday when they got to kick off. That's all. You don't blame them. Blame us.
They didn't used to have this. This didn't used to exist.
They also used to have 6 preseason games. 6.
Correct.
By the way, how about that?
Yes. That was.
And you cranked it up, right? By the time you got to 5, the starters played the entire 60 minutes.
Yep.
There were guys that tore ACLs in week 1 of the preseason, and they played in the season opener.
It's all of which is fact. You haven't gone back as far as Don Hudson. The last year they played 6. I think in the regular season, you'll have to check. They might have had 6 preseason and only 12 regular season. I'm not sure. It was probably 6 and 14. Pebble will have to look it up. I believe at one point there were 6 exhibition and 12 regular season.
And then they played. But it was 6 and 14 because I always remember, famously as a kid, I can still see watching it on a black and white TV sitting up in Door County. The year the Dolphins went 14-0 in 1972.
The NFL had 6 preseason games and a 14-game regular season from 1970 through 77.
Yeah, go back in the 60s.
Go back and
in the
look.
60s, you had 6 and 12.
Yeah, go back and look at 1972 when the Dolphins were 16-0.
Yeah.
And the Packers beat them in the preseason. Back when you played, that 72 team for the Packers was pretty good.
I think they were 14-0 in that regular season, not 16-0. But I'll check.
Yeah, they were 14-0. They were 14-0.
14-0, and you had 6 preseason games that year as well.
Okay, I believe in the 60s you had 6-12, but we'll have to check.
What the Packers
beat Miami that year
in the preseason? Go look it up.
I don't have to look it up.
14-13.
I believe you. All right, now we have a question for you. I believe yesterday it was the 50th anniversary of hiring Bart Starr as the coach and GM, to which I said, I will make no mentions of an opinion on that and where it fits historically out of respect for one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the history of the NFL. Because the decision, I can't even finish. I can't do it.
Which part of the decision? I was okay.
Hiring him as coach and
hiring
GM.
him was okay. You can give a shot. Yeah, GM, he went great. But listen, the GM before him was awful too. Right? That was Devine.
Correct, yes.
The thing that you just wouldn't do now, I said, can you imagine that record and still getting to coach 8.5 years?
Exactly.
You think, you know what? Jerry Jones did that with Justin Garrett. Although Justin Garrett had a couple.
Right, that's why they haven't won anything in 30 years. Yeah. Jerry Jones.
But he had, but Garrett at least had a couple of seasons where he thought, oh, okay, they're pretty good, and they won some titles. Bart never had any. He had the
got to the playoffs once in the strike season or something. I alienated everybody I knew at that time because I rooted for them to lose every game when he was the coach. Because I said it's never going to improve until he's gone. And but I never dreamt, because my first year in Appleton, I never dreamt that he would refuse to call timeout at the end of the last game out of respect for his defensive coordinator, John Meyer, who had given up 800 points. So that offense in '83, one of the greatest Packer offenses ever, never got any time to get the ball back and go down and score the winning points. And he got fired the next day.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying he was not a very good head coach. That's okay. It doesn't demean him or does not detract at all from
I'll
him
let
being
you say it. I don't
great.
I mean,
he was one of the all-time great and winningest quarterbacks with those 5 championships, but he was not a very good head coach.
And he was an even worse general manager. Rich Campbell, one of the worst ever, didn't listen to a scout who told him to take Joe Montana. And I was there, my first draft, must have been, what would it have been, 83, in the 10th round. I'd come from New Richmond, Wisconsin. I knew Tim Crumry. He played in the Middle Border Conference against New Richmond for Mondovi. He's available in the 10th round. If I could have walked in to Bart Starr, I would have said, this kid will be a great NFL player. He'll play for a decade. Jess Cole was his teammate at Mondovi, went on to be a quarterback. Not as good as Crumry. And in the 10th round, you know who the Packers took? Out of a favor to Bob Knight. I think he's a basketball coach, not a football coach, if I have my facts right. You know who they took? Thomas. I don't even know his first name. Had never played football. Was on the basketball team. Guess how many plays he ever played for the Packers? I'm not even sure he showed up for training camp. That's all you need to know about Bart Starr as a general manager. And Rich Campbell, fine man, became a preacher. Yeah.
Do you know Rich Campbell in his last year at Cal, he completed 70% of his passes. That was his big thing. He threw 6 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions. 6 TD passes, and he was the number 1 pick. He was, 6th overall?
Not by anybody but the Packers. I wish they hadn't taken him.
And I'm with you with Tim Crumry. He was great. And I remember, right, Tim Crumry and I think Jess Cole are the team that they beat Michigan when they were number 1 that season opener. Again, we're way back in the weeds. It doesn't have anything to do with this.
No, it was all in the weeds because what are the chances that I'm into Richmond and I heard people tell me that Tim Crumry was God? Like Tim Crumry was the greatest football player they had ever seen, and the Packers took a basketball player instead. All right, we can move on. You're right.
Was Bruce Clark on his watch too?
Yes, he was. Yeah,
the guy that went to Canada. That was
guy that didn't want to play. I drafted him. He didn't want to play. Yes.
Yeah, sent him to New Orleans. So that was So we had some hiccups in there, but we got Bill Bain at one point. I think is what we finally when we got a number 1 pick back. I think we took over Bill Bain. Mark Concar out of Cal.
Who did we take?
Colorado.
We take Barty Smith instead of Ronnie Lott. I mean, there was somewhere in there. There was another one that was.
We took a Barry Smith, then a Barty Smith in consecutive years. Neither
Yes.
one of them turned out to be great. One was a wide receiver from Florida
right.
State, and one was the fullback from Richmond.
All right, enough because Jason Wilde's coming up next. So I
We should
want to
get
try
to
to in lead. We should get into him. Other than nothing happened in the cut down day. Nothing. No one of any significance.
No.
Everybody had kind of figured out that the hotshot player, who was it, Simmons, Isaiah, whatever his name is. There's a reason everybody else cut him because he's not any good. He's got incredible athletic skills and has no clue about how to play football, apparently, which was why he was available, and he proved the same thing with the Packers. I'm a little surprised the kick returner from Kansas City got cut, but
Hardman, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think those two are the same guys. They are so tantalizing with their ability, and then every coach, and God bless them, they probably should. They all think, well, but I can coach him better than the other guy. This is all they're missing is my coaching, right? The other guy, I don't know what he did, but he can't do it like I do. And then you get him in there and you go, yeah, that guy, they were all those other guys were right too. And it's, so I'm glad that they didn't hang on to those guys. If it was close, take the other guy.
Goody likes his guys. There's no.
Yeah, and those guys have a history. There's, like you said, there's a reason they got cut in other places. And the same things that got them cut at other places were exactly what got them cut here. And Hardeman, for as much as we said, oh, he's great, and he walks in and he catches a putt on the 4, and then the next one he decides that he's going to actually drop period, and then that guy, I'm not sure why they hung on to him for another 3 weeks. You could have just escorted him out of the building right there. But
all right, we will get to Jason Wilde. We have 2 quick things to do. That's the best segment.
What do we got?
We got Discount Liquor Twitter poll question. When Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce eventually divorce or break up, I don't know if they're going to divorce because I'm not sure they got married, but when they eventually break up, who will you blame? Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce? We already discussed this a little bit. I don't
blame
want
the media.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. We will redo this and add the media. Excellent. And I don't know if you know John Dodds, one of the great historians for the Packers, used to be up for all the games and worked with various people. He sends me this information. This will be then. Bob Schnelker was hired as Bart Starr's offensive coordinator in '83, and he was asked about Rich Campbell. He said when he was either at Detroit or Baltimore, they had him off the draft boards because of a shoulder injury he suffered at Cal. After coming back, he threw more sidearms, so he really wasn't a 6'5" with a sidearm release. He was more of a 6-foot quarterback. And Corrick was begging them, that was Dick Corrick, a scout, to draft Ronnie Lott instead. We can end on that unless you wish to add anything else. And thanks to John Dodds. He should write a book.
Listen, if we're going to go down that path,
just you can finish the path.
All I'm going to say, if you're going to go down that path, then who do we put on the cross for taking Mandrich over Barry Sanders?
That was the GM before.
I'm just saying that the place is littered with. We should have taken this guy instead of
Mandrich was the worse than Bart Starr ever did, because whoever the GM was, and I'm thinking it was just before Ron Wolf, all he had to do was do research. They called him Dr. Tony. Everybody knew he was taking stuff, and they knew the league was changing the rules. Their lack of research, and any research on Tony Mandrich, would have prevented them from taking them, regardless of what they thought of his ability. And then, of course, the players that they could have taken.
Yeah, Sanders or Barry. But you
Barry
go
Sanders, Deion Sanders, and Derek Thomas.
I don't have the draft in front of me, but I guarantee you, if you go look behind Alfonso Carricker, there's a bunch of guys they should have taken. So the world, not just the Packers, the franchise and the NFL is littered with guys like that. What are you going to do?
That's true. That's true. That will be the final word. Jason Wilde and 7-2.5 John Anderson. This is so good, it's crazy. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Westbound 94 still seeing some big delays in Waukesha County. The two left lanes are still blocked right at 164 because of a vehicle fire. Now, they have been able to get that car out of there, but they're doing the final cleanup of this. So that's why we've got massive delays all the way back to the county line. On the eastbound side, everybody's slowing down to take a look at this. We've got delays from Highway G all the way past that point, and then you're back on the brakes from Highway F through the Barker Road area, and again from the Zoo interchange all the way to the Stadium interchange. Southbound on the bypass going to be slow from the Zoo all the way down and around the Hale interchange. Does not really let up until you get past 51st. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, clear and cool, a low of 55 at the lake, 48 inland. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, chance of showers or storms later on, a high of 76. At IKEA Oak Creek, making your home uniquely yours is now more rewarding. Join rewards from IKEA family and start earning points today. Not a member yet? Sign up for free at IKEA.com/US and start earning. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
I've been to my fair share of green and gold games, and the best way to get there is with Accutrans Group. At Good Karma Brands and ESPN Milwaukee, we use Accutrans Group to get our partners to and from Green Bay, and it's always first class. From stadiums to concerts and tailgates, your game day fun starts the moment you step on board. Sit back, relax, and let their professional chauffeurs handle the traffic while you enjoy the ride. Accutrans Group is Milwaukee's premier ground transportation, available 24/7 with sedans, SUVs, limos, vans, and buses. Book today at AccuTransGroup.com.
Get ready to say goodbye to those bland seltzers at the ballpark. Carbless is proudly Wisconsin-born, crafted by real people. A husband and wife team who wanted better cocktails in a can. They're locally made and blissfully better. Carbless offers a bold, true cocktail flavor that's made for baseball fans. Available in fan-favorite flavors like lemon lime, black raspberry, cranberry, and mango, bringing the craft cocktail bar to your seat. Refreshment that matches the energy of American Family Field is Carbless. Full of flavor, no sugar, and no carbs. Just game day bliss.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Let's go! You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Having a tough time paying your bills? Learn how to reduce your credit card debt to a fraction of what you owe. Call the Debt Helpline now for free advice. 800-329-9912. 800-329-9912.
Packers fans, your next quick trip run could score you the ultimate win. Cruising into tailgate season in a brand new Chevy Silverado RST, or blazing the trails on a new Polaris Sportsman 570, or grilling like an MVP with your new Pit Boss Ultimate Liftoff Griddle. Whoa, every dollar you spend at Quick Trip with Quick Rewards earns you a point in the Packers fan zone. So come in and get winning. No purchase necessary. Full details at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
This is so good. It's illegal in 14 states. The Professor, 7'2.5", John Anderson, and Jason Wilde talking about the Packers. Take it away, Professor.
Well, first I want to know what 14 states. Are we good in Missouri and Wisconsin so we can continue on, Homer?
Yes.
Okay,
North
good.
and South Dakota, so it's really only 12 states. I don't really count them.
Jason, find me the excitement in this cut list because I don't see anything that just knocks me over dead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you should be. And by the way, I don't want you to be dead. We like you. We like to keep you around for a long, long time. I can't speak for Mrs. Anderson, whose best material you steal without attribution, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yep.
Look, they are who they are, right? We kind of felt like they had their roster pretty much set. There were some flyers that they took on some veteran players, right? Isaiah Simmons. I didn't think Isaiah Simmons had a very good camp. The first week of camp, I wrote a story based on talking to Josh Jacobs, who called him a unicorn. Well, turns out, as we all knew already, unicorns don't really exist. And he doesn't exist on their roster. I didn't think he had I didn't think he was very good in preseason. It sucks. And he seemed like a good kid who's trying to, kind of find his way back after being a disappointment as a high pick. But when I think it was a guy from CBS Sports that broke the story, it was like the first cut that was kind of out there. I wasn't surprised. When they cut McCole Hardman, I wasn't surprised. He had a really bad game against the Jets, and I don't think he had margin for error. And he didn't do what the great Desmond Howard did late in the preseason in 1996 to find his way onto the Packers roster, and that was he didn't have some sort of enormous game in the final preseason game to get him a spot that way. So I wasn't surprised he didn't make the team. And if I'm being honest, even though I don't know what Christian Welch has to do to make the Green Bay Packers roster after playing 14 games for them in 2023, but I've told the story a bunch. Last year, we get Goody the day after the cuts, and he says, Christian Welch belongs on this team. He did enough. He deserved a roster spot. And then what was left unsaid was, why cut him anyway? He got cut again. And while I'm disappointed, and I think he's wrong again about Christian Welch, I'm not, I may be a little surprised because once they cut Isaiah Simmons, I figured they'd keep one of those veteran guys. The thing about this is you take those three guys that we're talking about, those are all special teams contributors too, right? And so the fact that none of those guys made the cut, again, leads to, at least in my mind, a little bit of they don't really care about special teams, even though they paid a lot of lip service. Are they going to put Keyshawn Nixon, their number one corner, with their free agent pickup corner, Nate Hobbs, coming off of knee surgery? Are they really going to put Keyshawn Nixon out there to return kickoffs? Apparently so, right? I mean, I guess they can bring up Israel Abanikanda from the practice squad if they bring him back to that tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is that I don't think any of this was surprising. Maybe a few things were disappointing. To me, the sexiest question, and this is not very sexy, is who's the third quarterback who's going to be on the practice squad? Is it going to be all the potential that Taylor Elgersma has, even though he's still getting used to, in Matt LaFleur's words, the dimensions of the field because he came from Canada? Or is it going to be Sean Clifford? Have they decided, you know what, we know what Sean Clifford is, and we think we can do better than this, even with a practice squad QB? So beyond that, there's not a whole lot of there's a couple of good stories, I guess, John. Nazir Stackhouse making the 53. If he's still there for the opener, it'll mean 21 straight years that they've had an undrafted rookie free agent on the opening day roster. Now, they had to kind of sneak one on last year in Braden Narveson because he was added at the last minute. But overall, there's not a whole lot of there.
Yeah, I feel like it's with Joe Lunardi when he picks his 68 teams and he's got 66 of them. I feel like you could have looked at that roster on day one, all 95, and you probably could have picked 50 guys, yes?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, when they signed Nazir Stackhouse, I thought that he was going to make the team. I thought there was a chance. I thought there was a chance that he would make the team instead of Warren Brinson, who was a 6th-round pick that he played next to at Georgia. I mean, I thought that was a possibility. That can, upset alert. Brian Gutekunst kept all 8 of his draft picks on the 53. Who saw that coming? So again, I don't think there was anything, and if you didn't make those picks at the start of camp, like I had dismissed Nicole Hardman pretty much from the jump. Like I was like, they have too many young guys they like. He's not going to make it. And then, he kind of did the, hey, what's that on your shirt? Boop, got you kind of a thing with what he did toward the end of minicamp and the off-season program, and then what he did the first couple practices of camp. But then, he kind of showed his true colors and didn't make the cut.
So which of those quarterbacks sticks around? Because the Clifford thing, I feel like, is we know exactly what he has. And honestly, if you send him to the pub and put the other guy on the roster or on the practice squad, that makes more sense to me because I think you can go get Clifford anytime you want him. You can go call him off the street. I don't know that anybody else is just going to knock down the door to put him on their team.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Now, what I would say about Sean, and I learned this from Aaron Rodgers, is that the biggest thing for backups, because look, they may have the best backup in the league now, right? In Malik Willis, like what he has done to resuscitate his career after dealing with the dysfunction of the Tennessee Titans. Like, yes, he threw a pick. It took a Herculean effort to make that pick in the game last Saturday, right? By the Seahawks player. But he can throw the football now. Like, they have worked with him on his fundamentals, on his release, on his footwork. Like, he's not just a running quarterback, but he's got that running element that, like, I will not be surprised if a team that runs this system decides to come after him in free agency in spring and says, we're going to let you compete for the starting job, and I won't be surprised if he wins it for a team that's kind of wandering in the quarterback wilderness. But for now, they got a really good backup. They're really fortunate in that. But what I learned from Aaron Rodgers is that in that quarterback room, what you really want are guys that are really good at helping the starter. And so like Matt Flynn, for example, he always would talk about how great he was at it. Like he knew exactly what Rodgers wanted, what kind of information he absolutely needed to get from him. And when he would do cut-ups or he would do the quizzes or whatever else for preparation, it was all stuff that then game day came and he was like, yep, this was already prepared for me by my backup. So I don't know where Malik's at on that, but I know Sean Clifford, in talking with Jordan Love, is really good at that too. So maybe that gives him the edge, right? Because if you're coming from Canada, the chances of you being able to do that part of the job probably pretty low. But other than that, if you're basing it solely on potential, it's got to be Elgersma. Like he's got a cannon for an arm, and he has no idea what he's doing yet.
He's just out there, but he can sling it. That's
right. I mean,
it'll stick to somebody if it hits him.
Right, and my favorite thing about him this entire camp was, we go in to talk to LaFleur the day after the Colts game, and it very rarely does a question get asked, and I'm surprised by how LaFleur handles it. It happened last year. Domofsky was working on some, positive story about the offensive line, and LaFleur, it was a very straightforward, shorter than my type of question, and LaFleur, it was clear that Rob was driving at hey, your offensive line has done a really good job, and he basically ripped the offensive line. Like they're not playing at a high enough level. They're inconsistent. Like it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, that was not what I was expecting. And so with Elgersma, I thought when somebody asked about the touchdown throw he had to Ben Sims, where it was between two defenders and Sims made a great catch, I thought it was going to be, hey, that's a tight window, but it showed us that he's got an NFL-level arm. And instead it was, and I quote Matt LaFleur, we cannot make that throw. We just can't do it. And I was like, wow, okay. So his best throw of camp was a throw he should not have made. That's interesting to me.
How many times do you think Holmgren said that to Brett Favre?
Oh, you mean, are you asking per day?
Just, you cannot make that throw. We cannot have that throw. And there were 99 touchdowns, I think, that probably fit that category, right?
No doubt.
So you look at the team, and we could have predicted a lot of what's there. Where is this team, this roster, better than it was a year ago? I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is kind of the same team they went to battle with last year, and we're relying on them to be 1 year better.
Yep. Once again, that's why you're the professor, and I'm Mary Ann. You're right. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the improvement has to come from within, right? It's a lot of the same guys plus their draft class. Look, when I say that, I don't mean that as a negative critique, right? Because your hope is that you got the right guys, and they are going to play at a high level, and they are going to make those jumps. But as you've heard me say 1,000 times this offseason, there are so many guys that have to prove they're as good as they are sometimes. They have to prove that they can do it all the time or most of the time. I love to give Homer a hard time. Wake him up, by the way, so I know that he's still there for this segment.
I'm still awake. It is the
good.
Brian Bulaga bye week, so I have lost some source of energy.
I can see that. Yeah, you should get one of his Surfside beverages. That'll wake you right up. But Homer's rule is one of the smartest things I've ever heard anyone say. Clip that, would you, Pebble? The Homer rule about young players. It's that don't judge them based on what they do wrong. Judge them based on what you see when they do something well. And there's been a lot of young players in the last 3 years that have done a lot of really good things on occasion. But to your point, who's a star on this team? Who is a legitimate elite player? No, he's not. Not yet. He's not. He could be, but he's not yet. I'm sorry. He definitely Jacobs. Yes, and there's one other one in my opinion.
Xavier McKinney.
Yep, that's it. That's the list to me.
Sorry to interrupt 7-2.5, but he made fun of me by saying I was sleeping, and I got to respond.
Well, you should respond. I would much rather you learn that I would like this segment to be collaborative as opposed to this nonsense where you just sort of turn it over to him. And I love talking to John. My point is that they are counting on such a remarkable number of guys to elevate from being those homer players to being elite players. You're not going to get, I think I counted them up when we did this one time, and I said there were 12 guys that fit that category. You're not going to get all 12. We all know that. But if you get 6, you get 7, now you got your 6-7, as the kids are saying these days. Now you've got a chance. So we'll see how many of them elevate. But all those wide receivers, Musgrave, I think Tucker Kraft is on the precipice of being another one of those star players. I don't think he's quite there yet, but I think he's on the verge. If he elevates to that point, he makes things interesting. But again, there's a lot of guys, and to your point, it becomes very clear when you get today's initial 53 about where they're at.
I look at Cooper.
No, go ahead.
Some of us are not as high on Cooper as others. And here's my only reservation with Cooper, is that I worry that we are looking at him like we looked at Jordan Love after the last back half of Jordan Love's
totally agree.
Season.
Mm-hmm.
He was great, and we just saying Cooper kind of had that, and now we just expect that jump, and I don't know that I'm ready to make that leap yet because that's a big position and that's a big leap to make. I feel like he's in the exact same spot of expectations of what we got from Jordan Love.
That's a really good parallel. Couldn't agree with it more.
I might add one thing. He didn't play that much, and he was still twice, 2 different weeks, the defensive player of the league. And John Anderson named the last Green Bay Packer player ever to be Defensive Player of the Week twice in a rookie season, especially who played as few plays and percentage that Cooper did. His performance
Go ahead. Go find me a Hall of Famer that on his plaque it says he was twice Rookie of the Week.
I'll bet there are a number of them. I bet that's not right now. That's not their calling card in the end. So I feel like I need a little more there. All right, I'll work on it.
As David Bakhtiari once said, after a very successful 2013 season when he was a rookie 4th or 5th round pick, he said, I don't want to be known as good for a rookie. I want to be known as a really good player, regardless of what year I am.
He didn't win Rookie of the Week award. He won Defensive Player of the Week.
He did twice. Absolutely. Those are
Tell Bakhtiari.
That pool of players is only the rookies.
No, it's
right?
not.
It's not the deepest pool to fish in.
No, he was the Defensive Player of the Week.
Okay.
Though in the NFC, both those times. I still don't think that that's on many plaques either, but be that as it may, it was he was really good in those weeks. He's got as a couple things. He's got to be consistent with his preparation in terms of during the week, because he was also injured a bunch, right? He had a hamstring for 3 weeks after he'd had some big moments. Like they need him on the field. That's a responsibility that he holds, and I think he understands that. I think he's got a better grasp on the system. But as they get into further years in this system with him, they're going to want to do more, right? Because you can't just say, okay, this stuff worked last year, let's do it again. So is he going to be able to elevate that part of his game in terms of his understanding of the defense? Those are all parts of the equation. I think he's got a chance to be really, really special. I think your parallel, John, to the way there were many of us that crowned Jordan Love after those 8 weeks. I mean, I thought about this today. They did lose to Tommy DeVito, who got cut today, right, during that 2023 run. So it's not like they were gangbusters the whole time. But the bottom line is that I think that we did that with Jordan Love. I think we're on the verge of doing that with Edger and Cooper, and we will see. And maybe Edger and Cooper will prove Homer right, which would be a nice change of pace for him.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Glad I participated. Third quarter with the professor, 7-2.5, John Anderson next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
We are accident-free right now. Not delay-free, but accident-free. That vehicle fire that happened on westbound 94 at Highway 164 has been cleared. All the lanes have reopened, but those delays are working themselves out. So we got big delays from Sunny Slope Road westbound all the way to Highway 164. Eastbound slowing from Highway 16 past Brookfield Road, almost to Calhoun. You're back on the brakes from the Zoo interchange to about Hawley Road. Southbound 41, a heavy ride from Good Hope Road all the way down past Capitol Drive. Southbound 43, also seeing delays from Capitol down through the Marquette to about the KK River crossing. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, clear and cool, low of 55 at the lake, 48 inland tomorrow. Partly cloudy, chance of showers and storms later on, a high of 76. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Escape to Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin, where everything is better at the lake. Dive into endless outdoor activities, including boating, fishing, and paddleboarding on the serene Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind in the award-winning Calidora Spa. Enjoy gourmet meals at 1878 on the lake, casual bites at the Lookout Bar and Eatery, and sweet treats at the Isle of Capri Cafe. Explore Delavan Lake's stunning shores and historic landmarks from the comfort of their 76-foot cruise boat, the Lake Lawn Queen. Book your stay today at LakeLawnResort.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
According to Time Magazine, Gen Z is drinking 20% less alcohol than all previous generations. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Over our 65 years in business, we've stayed up on all the trends. Where you'll always find 2,000 varieties of beer, 4,000 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines, we now also stock over 100 varieties and growing of THCA, CBD, and Delta-9 non-alcoholic specialty-infused drinks. So whether you're experimenting with the latest wellness trend, or you just want something in your fridge that your college kid can call you cool for, come check out our expansive selection. And while you're at it, you do deserve that bottle of bourbon. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings. Discount Liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
It's Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. For me and my family, finding the perfect home is a journey, but we don't walk it alone. With the We Sell Group, Rob and Nick aren't just real estate agents, they're part of our family's team. They bring us options, perspective, and peace of mind. While they navigate the market, I can stay focused on all that life has in store. Because at the We Sell Group, it's not just about the home, it's about the people and the path it takes to get there. The We Sell Group, more than agents, part of your journey. Get started with Rob and Nick at wesell.kw.com.
It's finally back. Make plans to attend the Bud Pavilion's free concert series Wednesday Night Live this week. Gates open Wednesday at 6 with live music starting at 7, where Boo the Band takes the stage. See you at Wednesday Night Live from the Bud Pavilion at State Fair Park.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know it's not just a car, it also drives your children's dreams. So whether you're going to soccer practice, robotics club, or opening night in the school play, we help protect those dreams. Save up to 23% when you bundle auto and home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just for you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
This is the John Anderson Homer Hour, of which there is a segment with John Anderson and Jason Wilde and Professor I Lied. I just want to let you know.
I'm listening.
It ain't ever changing. I don't ever want to talk in that segment. It's a chance the world gets to get John Anderson and Jason Wilde. That's like Roland Martin. That's like Abbott and Costello. You may not know this because you have other things you do. On Wednesday, I get to talk to Jason. And on Thursday, I get to talk to Jason with Brian Bulaga. So it's not like I don't get to ask my questions. And I told him I would be different, but I just lied because it'll be the same each week. And next week, when he says I'm asleep, I'm going to go and turn on the mic. All right. I also want to let you know that you don't have to apologize to Edgerrin Cooper, but you should consider it. All right. Edgerrin Cooper was two-time NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He didn't even play in every game. He played in 11 games. He played on 55% of the snaps. Now, I will guess in the history of the NFL, since they given these awards out, nobody has won Defensive Player of the Week twice, playing only 55%. And for those of you that want Micah Parsons, he could only dream of being as good as Edgerrin Cooper. Here's Micah Parsons in 4 years. First year, one time Defensive Player of the Week. Second year, one time Defensive Player of the Week. Third year, one time Defensive Player of the Week. You know how many last year? Zippo. And here's his percentage of play. 84%, 80%, 81, and 82. Micah Parsons has never had as impressive a season as Edgerrin Cooper. Take it from that, Professor.
I believe you're using your stats for support and maybe not illumination, but God bless you.
Ooh, I got to use that. Hold on. Did you make that up or did you just – that is so good.
No, that's Vin Scully. He always says drunks use stats like they use a lamppost. They use them for support, not necessarily for illumination. That's Vin Scully.
I believe I had great illumination in that what Cooper did is almost impossible given how little he played. And Micah Parsons is a great example. As dominant and great as he has been, he could not equal in his best year what Cooper did playing only 55%. That, sir, is support, not illumination.
No, I want illumination.
I know.
Want somebody to tell me.
I messed that up. Sorry, Vin.
So my thing is in this.
Yes.
Is that yes, that is great. What I need him to do then is be that guy this year, and I need him to be that at least, given your stats, 85% of the time on the field of play, not 55.
Yes, he needs to be second team All-Pro. He does. Yes.
That leads to some questions for him that still needs to be answered, and that's why I think for all those things you listed, where he was dynamite there at the end of the year.
As illumination, not support.
He needs to do that again because that's what we saw exactly with Jordan Love. He was great, and then he didn't kind of make the jump and consistency, and you can make whatever it is. He got hurt. He was fighting the groin, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Bottom line was that was not the big jump we need. So I just need Cooper to it would helpful to be better. But if he wants to just be that guy that, as I understand it, was twice the defensive player of the week in 55 cents, I need him to be that then at least that this year.
Oh.
And I need him to do it more than 55% of the time.
Oh, I agree totally.
That's why I'm waiting to see it a little bit. I'm in the show me state. I need him to show me a little bit. That's all.
I agree totally. And it is appropriate to demand that level of performance based on what he did last year.
The thing that happens is you are so excited about him.
Yes.
Is that it makes me, by tempering some of that, sound like a hater, and I'm not.
No one thinks that. They think I'm crazy. We don't need to take a poll on this. This does not turn you to a hater.
Well, I just want to be clear that I am totally on his side. I'm not rooting against him. I'm just saying this is what I kind of need so that I am then able to match your enthusiasm. And believe me, if you are the first guy on the train and I catch the third or fourth car, okay, I apologize. Good for you for being out in front of that thing.
No, and I want to add, I'll be tougher on him than everybody else because it's just like the Brewers. They were some angry bees until they became the best record in baseball and run differential. Now they're the bear. So there's a reason, as you did last week, to hold them to a higher standard. Yes, Cooper, given what he did, which I will say, if someone does the study, will rank as one of the incredible performances for someone who played so little. I went back the last few years. I think Bosa was maybe the only guy I could find who won it 2 weeks. And clearly Cooper's no. So, yes, we look at this differently. I say, Cooper, you should be second team All-Pro. I don't mean that Pro Bowl crap. That's just made-up stuff. Everybody gets it. Because of what you showed your rookie year. If you don't, I will be at the front of the line saying, well, maybe we need to relook at that first year.
I think he is the most important person on that defense.
Yep.
In his performance. As good as McKinney is, he's on the back end. So the guy that could be in the middle of it on every play, he is now, I thought last year, as good as McKinney was, in the end, he turns out being the best player on that defense. That doesn't necessarily mean that's why I need to be the most important player on the like Josh Jacobs was the best player on the offense last year. What I really need is the most important player to be the best player, and that's Jordan Love. And so kind of the same thing here. I thought, Rashawn Gary needed to be a monster last year. He wasn't. I think the defense, if it wants to be a significant defense, an impact defense, Cooper then becomes the most, I don't know that that's some grand pronouncement, that he needs to be the most important player on that defense now. He needs to be the best and make himself the most important player on that defense.
And all offenses deal with him first, and that, of course, makes life a little bit easier for others, like it was, I would say, for Clay Matthews. I don't know who you want to pick on various defenses, but yes, you notice I didn't interrupt there because that was really, really good. Fourth quarter with a professor. 7-2.5, John Anderson, next.
Get enough bee stings, you can bring down a bear.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. the best source for every piece of NFL news you need to know.
I would just say that right now I think all options are on the table. I think that they went through that trade thing and they talked to teams, and it's not like those talks are shut down.
ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter is on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy every Wednesday morning at 7:30. Sponsored by Island Resort and Casino.
But they didn't go anywhere. And when they don't go anywhere, it opens up the possibility they could be back.
On 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
For the first time, you can stream all of ESPN all in one place. And guys, it's changed the game for me personally. All the best live sports, the most championship moments, studio shows, documentaries, and originals, too many to even name them all. Plus, all these great new features, like watching 4 games at once in multi-view, your fantasy team updates live in-game, Sports Center customized just for you. They thought of everything to make this the ultimate destination for fans. You gotta check it out. Sign up for the all-new ESPN app, like right now.
When it comes to joint replacement, you want the best care available. The Orthopedic Surgery Center in Pewaukee is a leader in joint replacement, offering same-day surgery with advanced technology. Their team of experts specializes in knee, hip, and shoulder replacements, using the latest techniques to minimize pain and recovery time. By choosing them, you're choosing a center focused on providing specialized care tailored to your needs. The team at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin can get you back to what matters, living pain-free.
And their prices are more affordable than urgent care or the ER. And they'll send a full report to your primary care doctor. Why wait at the ER? Walk in to Ortho ASAP for faster, more affordable care.
Total joint replacement. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com. That's orthowisconsin.com.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Grand Slams and walk-offs. If you haven't jumped on the bandwagon by now, what are you waiting for? Siding Unlimited is Milwaukee's very own national champions. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows? Our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
Best Marquette games ever, brought to you by Saganiac Planning. Most memorable ever, if you consider the most famous postgame photo, February 5th, 1974, 59-58, Marquette over Wisconsin on a last-second 20-foot shot by Maurice Lucas. This still famous photo has a joyous Al McGuire jumping on the scorer's table, and the father of the opposing team's talented twin sons responding with a half a peace sign or the middle finger. And Maurice Lucas saying, Coach Al would have been hiding under that table if I had made that shot. If you're a company owner offering medical insurance for your employees, you may be sick and tired of the constant increase in rates or change in benefits. Now's the time to take a look at a different type of plan. At Saganiac Planning, it's called level funding, an opportunity to keep premiums low and possibly receive a return of your premiums. For more information, call John Saganiac Jr. Level Funding, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
1, 2, you know what to do.
The John Anderson Homer Hour. I haven't been keeping track of the amount of salt or sugar that we've got, but we cannot do a show without discussing the Milwaukee Brewers. However, the professor would like to. Take it away, whatever you want to inform or talk about regarding the Milwaukee Brewers.
Well, I feel a little rushed from last week when they got to win the National League pennant. Going to the Cubs thing, I think I told you I sent after the initial game to a good friend of mine who's a Cubs fan, and it was after they won the opener. Do you have a favorite of the Cubs' 2 hits today? And I thought, boy, that might be a little too bold, and it's going to come back and bite me. All I worry about right now is that they've kind of lost a little mojo out of the pen in that 8th and 9th inning. They've coughed up a couple of leads there that are concerning, but not fatal at this point. It could be that they played 18 games in 19 days, something like that. They had a pretty
and they
tight
got to keep going.
stretch.
They're not off until after Labor Day.
So I worry that perhaps that's what are you going to do? That's the way the game is right now, because they never let any starter go by 6 innings. And so every night you're going to get 3, you got to take 3 innings out of the pen, out of some guys, and piece that together. So I worry a little bit about maybe is the pen overtaxed? Do you have enough guys? And, Churio cannot get back soon enough to start pounding out balls with what's happening there. So that's all. I just need and the 27th out is always the hardest one. I get it, but they handled that pretty well for a long time. My hopes of going into the playoffs with a 54-game win streak have gone by the board. I admit now that perhaps that might have been an overzealous thought and prediction. But other than that, they're fine. They're 32 games over 500. I am not panicked yet. The Cubs are going to make a run because they're a really good team. They'll find their way together. The Brewers just have to keep being the guys who you are. They got some tough stuff coming up. They're going to have to go to got to deal with Toronto in some of those games.
Philly.
But, they'll be okay. Philly's got some issues too with their pitching staff that's going to go through. So I just hope the bullpen can come through. And then, they lived on a lot of timely hitting, and so sometimes those guys aren't going to hit in that spot. But we're good. I am much as I was not dismissive after those first 4 games that they were going to be completely out. I am not dismissive that this bit of a small bump right now that they seem to be playing, which is less than their best. I don't think that'll last. What has Willie Mays said? I feel like this is like the common cold. No matter what happens, it's going to be 2 weeks up and down, and then they'll find themselves again and run some off.
Nice, Willie Mays. I'm not the slightest bit worried, but I expect it to go down to the last 3 or 4 days.
To maybe win the division, could be.
Yes.
I think ultimately then that becomes really still will be for the best record in baseball, unless the Dodgers get really healthy and
close
rip
to
off
it. Yes.
the team. But I do think that's going to be for the division. And I think winning the division and getting that bye would be really, really, really important.
And that is not a belief that I have that all of a sudden the Brewers are going to get worse. There's a difficult issue, and that is their schedule versus the Cubs. And that has nothing to do with the ability of either team. It goes that way in a season. And I'd say the edge in the games remaining is about 3 for the Cubs based on the teams both play. But not worried, enjoying it.
Yep.
Just
let it wash over you, man. Just let it wash over you for a while.
And you just want it to happen so that it can be forever Euchre's season. Because that's what it is. It is Euchre's season.
He would not be. He would be flying high right now. He would not be alarmed in the least. So I'm not going to be either.
Yes, take what you think is Bob Euchre's approach, and the professor, 7'2.5" John Anderson, will give us what he thinks that is each of the remaining weeks in the season on the tee next.
Whatever you do.